What fascinated me about the story is how it's almost like a Russian doll situation,
Yeah.
I guess for you, Dominic, because it's a real guy being asked to act like a guy, and here comes an actor being asked to act a guy who's acting a guy. And then play the real guy, who's, so I mean, it's kind of just a really fascinating kind of twist. So every question you might have as an actor of your character, if you want to explore the answer in the negative, you just apply it to the other side of the coin. Like that must have just been a fascinating, I know it's just like kind of what I asked you before, but it's a fascinating process to even begin on.
Yeah, it was often quite confusing, but we tried to sort of make it simplified as much as we could, and we tried to sort of do certain scenes before we'd shoot other scenes, so we do it in a certain order that would help me. So if say there was a scene where Uday was being particularly violent or morose, and it was a lot of energy was needed, we try and shoot that at the beginning of the day and do something different in the afternoon. And also back to not necessarily wanting to always speak to Latif so much about his experience in the time when he actually went through the particular scenes that we shot in his real life. It felt very, very raw and to delve too deep into his life, and it was often I didn't want to broach that subject too much with him, really.
Yeah. And Rad, I mean, you've worked on so many projects, and
He's the go-to Iraqi guy.
Yeah, but it's like weird. Like sometimes you get an Irish name on some credits or whatever, but pretty much it is, go-to guy. What happened when you sat down with Lee the first time you met him, or was it over the phone?
It was an extraordinary 2 hours I spent with Lee. I walked in, I hadn't met Lee before. Of course, I'd seen Lee's work and admired his work, and it was such an honor to get the opportunity to meet Lee. And he was there with his handy cam, and he was filming. So he asked me things and sort of asked me to read for him, and which I read the sheets I had, having read the script, which I was completely attracted to. And we talked about Iraq. I was born in Iraq, but I left as a child, so I do have a history of it in my head implanted, and I cannot get rid of it at all. So I'm completely sort of stuck and bound to whatever goes on in that country, even though I haven't set foot there in 50 years. So I know the history, and I certainly knew the history of how Saddam came to power, and how Saddam was completely enamored with the whole gangster life that he'd witnessed in countless American films. And he'd watched Godfather over and over and over again. It was his favorite movie, and I'm sure he based his whole personality on Corleone. And he created a whole mafia country with a model. The model was the Corleone family in Iraq somehow. And he literally ordered people around and created willfully a completely modern state.